Hello, everyone, and welcome. This week, today, May 6th, I am interviewing Shirley Quarmby. Shirley Quarmby is going to talk to us about the joys and pains of baking. And so I just want you to, she is the baker extraordinaire, home baker extraordinaire, and qualified pastry chef born in Zimbabwe, but now living in the UK. Shirley has had a lifelong passion for baking and pâtisserie. After 30 plus years of working as a business analyst in the IT industry, Shirley took a career break and trained as a professional pastry chef at the prestigious Cordon Bleu cookery school. As a result, she has the unique ability of bringing professional skills to the home baker through her online baking school, Sharing Deliciousness. Shirley is working on developing new course content for her baking school and her first cookbook of recipes with the human story behind them. I am delighted, and you'll hear more at the end of our interview here. Shirley is also offering you a free gift. It's her 10 secrets to perfect short crust pastry. So we will put the link in the comments, but you also have it on the post if you are watching on Facebook or on YouTube or listening live through the recording through Podbean. But I'd like to now bring up Shirley, and here we go. Woohoo, Shirley!
Hello, everybody. Lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Misha.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm glad you accepted my invitation.
I never turned down an opportunity to talk about baking.
I love it. And I remember the first time I saw you was in a video where you were talking about pastry baking, and you had these beautiful pastries there. I was like, ooh, those look good.
Yeah,
so I was like,
it's one of the things, actually, sort of like, there's lots of tasting that goes along the way. So sometimes the waistline can expand when you don't want it to.
Oh, that definitely has happened. Oh, no. To who? To me? Oh, yes, actually. So, Shirley, tell us a little bit if there was anything missing from the bio, or if there's anything you want to tell people about where you are now and why maybe this is bringing you so much joy.
Sure. Yeah. So, I've had such an eclectic kind of journey getting to where I am right now. So I am still developing content for my online baking school, Sharing Deliciousness. And I suppose the one thing that I would probably want to point out really is that, I've been baking for 30 plus years. And I've just come to realize that, baking for me is less about the skill, and it's so much more about self-confidence, the self-esteem it gives you, the community it gives you as well when you start to share what you bake. And it's those sort of what I would call side door benefits that is underpinning the philosophy behind my business, Sharing Deliciousness. My strapline is "Together Taste Better," and it's just wanting to sort of spread the word that so often people aspire to make something, and it might look daunting, or they might be so frustrated that they've not made it well so far. And sometimes it's just because cookbooks and recipes and even your celebrity chefs on the telly, they don't tell you everything you need to know. And so all my sort of teaching and philosophy, as I say, behind my business is getting down to some of the real basics, so I teach them the science and things like that. And it's all about just setting up my bakers to succeed and to become their own detectives, actually, in their baking, so that they can, if they have one that doesn't quite turn out right because of what I've taught them along the way, they'll understand, they'll look at it and say, I understand why it's come out like that. It's because of the oven temperature or whatever, so that they're learning. Whereas, that kind of information is not given to you in a sort of cookbook arena, shall we say.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And so when you refer to your bakers, I know you said your online school, are you talking about people who just are baking for fun or enjoying this at home, or are they actually professional bakers? What kind of people are you talking about?
Yeah, so no, even though I've taken a professional qualification, I've kind of, I felt, truth be told, I felt really uncomfortable in that environment, actually. I almost, I don't know, I just found it quite intimidating in that. So I've always felt at home with who I would call a home baker, somebody like me who's come from self-taught background or taken lots of recreational courses. And yet, because I've achieved a professional standard, I can bridge that gap between the home baker and them aspiring to, looking at some of these beautiful patisseries that you see people making, and you think, gosh, how do they do that? And I've been there. I've asked that myself, that question. I think I'm gonna find out. So that's sort of where I want to give people the confidence that they can create things like that. They just need to be shown how. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so often, recipe is not as difficult as it might look. So some of these really intricate patisseries, for example, and when you break down the individual components, they're all really simple. A sponge, anybody can make a sponge, might be a mousse or something like that, where you're just whipping cream and you might be adding a little bit of gelatin if that's the recipe. So when you look at the individual components, they're quite easy, but then it's just about how do you construct it. And so I just really want to encourage people that that can be their reality, because I've done it, so yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. And so when you think back to your early days of baking, what trials and tribulations did you have?
It's not even that long, it's not even long ago. It's even now, I just, I think probably in, way back when I first started baking, I was sort of what I would call your average rustic home bake. I love making a tray of brownies or stuff like that. But as I sort of got more and more exposed to some of these beautiful pastries, that's when my challenges started, because I really want to create this. And so the trials and tribulations really were, it's like, how many times am I going to have to make this to make it how I really want it to look, or how I'm happy with it? I mean, a case in point, here I'm in my kitchen tonight, and I've been making a baked white chocolate cheesecake with raspberries in it. It's the third time I've baked it today.
Oh my goodness.
Partly I'm a perfectionist, but also because I know when I share that recipe with my audience, it's my reputation that's at stake, because I want to make sure that it works. I want to put, my stamp of approval on it, that I'm confident that what I've made and the instructions I'm going to post in the recipe, that they're correct. Those trials are with me the whole way. I sort of see it as it's a challenge, and it's a challenge I embrace. I just I love fiddling around with recipes, and it becomes quite an expensive hobby, trust me, because I'm not getting paid for these recipes testings. I've got a very good relationship with my local food bank. They do really well out of me, because I'd have a serious problem if I was eating all of this stuff,
Yeah.
But it's sometimes, after I've had a day in the kitchen, and sometimes it is a long day, because it takes a long time, because I'm also got the video camera on, because I want to, if it works, I want to make sure I've captured it so that I can, then pass on the content to my clients and that. So there's a lot of moving parts, but when I do achieve the outcome that I'm looking for, it's hugely satisfying, and I think, yes, that's exactly what I was aiming for, and I'm just very determined, and a mind for detail, I suppose, as well, so that when I present something, it's something that I'm proud to present. I don't want to be just winging it,
Right.
So
right.
Maybe I'm too much of a perfectionist, but I can show you. Actually, this is.
I would love to see it.
This is one of the ones I made. So I don't know if you can see.
Wow! Yes, look at that.
Yeah. So that one was about 80% right, and this one that's cooling now on the side here, I'm happy with that one. That's 100%. So.
All right. Well, maybe by the end of the interview, it'll be cooled off enough you can show us that one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's it's
Don't mess it
still
up.
in it's right here. It's still in its
Oh, okay.
foil.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh, that's
because
so
I
cool.
bake it in a bit of it's almost like a bain marie kind of thing. I put some water in this tray, and you've got to be really careful how you seal the bottom, because this ring is not sealed. It's it's got so it's just got sponge at the bottom, and then I bake it, and so I let it. So that's going to go in the fridge overnight before I demold it, because then it'll come out nicely. It needs to be completely set. But yeah, I'm super proud of that one.
All right. Yay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, and anybody who's watching the video live or the replay, this question: is welcoming joy into your day easy or difficult for you?
For me, and the analogy I always give people when I talk about my baking is I'm like a kid in a sandpit with my bucket and spade when I'm in my kitchen, and I probably spend more time in this room, in this house, than anywhere else. And it's the one thing that I know, if I'm not feeling so great, maybe I'm feeling a bit blue, or I've had a stressful day because I'm in a day job as well. This is, I'm trying to get my business off the ground while I'm, being sustained with my day job. Is that the one thing that'll ground me? And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. It might be a tray of brownies or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'll just think, right, before I know it, the mix is on and the oven's on, and and there's flour everywhere, and and then I'm happy, and I think it's I find it very absorbing. So, even though us women are supposed to be really good at multitasking, when I'm baking, I'm super focused on what I'm doing. That, trust me, I've spent 10 and 12-hour days in this kitchen, and I haven't even blinked an eyelid because I'm just so absorbed in what I'm doing. And so I think from that point of view, from a mental health point of view, certainly, I just forget about all the nonsense that's going out in the world. And if I'm stressed about something else, it's a real stress reliever for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's something to be said with playing with your food, right?
Yeah. Absolutely right. And it's not throwing it against the wall.
Right. No, I mean, except maybe a spaghetti strand to see if it's fully cooked, right?
Yeah,
but I think that there's something about, many people have been taught over the years not to play with your food, but this gives a different meaning to it, right? I mean, there's such joy. And for me, I rarely ever look at a cookbook and recipes. I throw ingredients together and see what comes out of it. And I love doing that. It actually makes me happy, especially when it comes out really good.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
So for you, it sounds like when you're baking, that's how that is easy for you to welcome that kind of joy in. Yeah.
Totally. It's like my friend, it's my best friend, as I say, and it's baking does get a bad rap sometimes because of the calories that are supposed to be involved and that, and yeah, sure, that's true, but for me, the benefits that it gives me, as I kind of mentioned earlier, in terms of the confidence, self-esteem, the joy of just creating it, something in your brain, that's that dopamine in your brain about creating something from scratch, and you can say, I made that, and then say the sharing. I'm just so delighted now that I have this relationship with my local food bank, because I live on my own, and there's only so much a girl can eat, before there's an issue. And I try and give it away to some of my friends and neighbors and that, but there's only so much they want as well. So it kind of,
I think that's wonderful. I love it that actually really, as soon as you said that, you have a connection and relationship with the local food bank. That is so beautiful, Shirley. I really want to thank you, to have decided that that's a great place to offer your tasters, that's wonderful.
Indeed. Yeah. And it was, I'm really grateful to them for, trusting me. I mean, my kitchen is registered with my local authority and everything like that, so it's all sort of above board, and so they kind of know who I am. But before I kind of got to know them, I I found myself stopping or being reticent to bake because I didn't know what I was going to do with it afterwards. I didn't want to throw it in the bin. I thought I can't just. Yeah. And so I wasn't being as free with my creativity as I wanted to be. So, but now, because I know I've got this, that, and so far they've not said stop. That's enough. It's freed me up, and I'm grateful that, I am in a day job that's sustaining me, because it's, some of these ingredients are expensive. It's not only the ingredients, it's my electricity and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm just grateful that I can give in that way. It doesn't worry me in that sense, as I say, because I'm grateful I have a day job that is sustaining me financially in that respect. So I can be generous, and I love it. I really love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that, with your cooking school and the course that you're creating online for people, I imagine you'll be quitting that day job soon.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's very much the idea. Is I'd kind of hoped that it might have happened by now, but I've just got to be super patient with myself, and it'll come. I think the one thing that I've kind of realized as well is that, because it's such a natural thing for me to just get into the kitchen and start to make something, as I realized of all the years that have gone, that I didn't have my video camera on. So I've made thousands of stuff that I've just never videoed. And of course, now it's content that would be super valuable. So absolutely. So now I'm learning to discipline myself, that whenever I get in the kitchen, I can't be too spontaneous, that I actually need to put the video camera on, because I just never know if it's going to, it could still be content for people that I can pass on,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I'm excited, number one, to be able to share you with my family, friends, and everybody else who's watching us on the different platforms that I have. But for two, I'm super excited that you're going to be one of my presenters at the Women's Virtual Retreat, the first international women's retreat this July, talking about creating joy and building resilience. You're going to be one of the presenters. I'm really excited about that.
I am.
So I think people excited. I don't think people are going to stop seeing you. And so I certainly hope that if people have this desire to feel more confident as a baker, but also I think it leans over into everyday living, of being able to have that confidence when you make something and it comes out successfully. Just like the whole notion of, if you want to feel successful at the beginning of the day, make your bed, because boom, you've accomplished something, right?
Exactly right. Yeah. I think I've been through to a couple of networking events, as I say, I'm very new to my business and that, but been to a couple of networking events, and I've introduced myself as, a pastry chef, tutor and all that kind of thing. And then it's only when I get on to sort of explaining that baking also has these other things about self-confidence and self-esteem and joy and creation and all that kind of thing, that people have actually stopped and thought, I've never thought of baking like that. And so I've actually got to sort of network with some people who are sort of running, or a bit like yourself, whose audience is nothing to do with baking, but is about joy or self-confidence, or they're at a new start in their lives, the empty nest syndrome kind of people, and it kind of really marries well with those kind of people that they might not even know that they like baking, that and actually it's something new that they can start because they can, and it just brings that whole new dimension to your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to ask you a very difficult question. Are you ready for this? And anybody who's watching and listening can answer it as well. Other than baking, what brings you joy?
Wow.
I know. I throw you off guard a little bit.
No. I'm an exercise freak. I mean, I'm like a bear with a sore head if I can't get my run in or my gym or whatever, and so it's just part of my DNA. And if I can't do that for whatever reason, whether it's I'm injured or I don't know if I'm ill or whatever, I don't feel right well, and so my exercise is a massive part of my life. I mean, I've run several marathons in the past. I mean, that kind of distance running and stuff is no longer, but I still have a very when I say a strict exercise regime, like it's not that it's not a self-flagellation kind of thing. It's just I just do it because it's just so natural to me, and it's just something that is another stress reliever for me. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
I used to do a lot of hill walking as well. Before my baking business kind of took over my life, really, I would spend a lot of time up in the hills, and I was quite happy to put a pack on my back and just, with a map and a compass, and I'd go off and just love being in the mountains. And I do miss them, particularly now, with the lockdown conditions that we've had for the last year and that not being able to travel. But I've enjoyed that. But actually, there's one other thing as well that I've surprised myself at is, and it kind of is married a bit with my cooking, is that I've really enjoyed the food photography aspect to my business. Is that there's one thing is creating a recipe and that, but I have a small recipe blog on my website, and I need to put photographs on there, and particularly for some of my courses and things that I make, I like to take a nice photograph of it. So I'm still quite a newbie to it, but I get a lot of compliments of some of the the images that I've taken, and I get a lot of fun and joy out of that, because it's not always something that I think comes easily to me, and I have to get ideas from the internet and that. So, like, for example, this cheesecake, I kind of go and look at other images, and I get my ideas from that, and then I do my shoot. And it's kind of lots of dimensions going on in terms of creation for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you like to share a little bit of what you're going to be doing with the people who participate in the retreat? Or do you want to save that and have us share?
I'll have to save that because I'm still thinking about it, because I want to make it super special, and it'll most likely involve a demo of some sort. I will be cooking on camera if we. I think I still need to sort of make sure that I can do that on the tech and all that kind of thing. But I would like to sort of do perhaps a little demonstration, and but it's going to be something that will be nice and entertaining for people to watch. So something that they can learn a few things about, hints and tips as well.
Yeah, fabulous. Yeah, and I'm wondering, I know the workshops are only 45 minutes each, but you and I will talk more, but it may be something that we can send out ahead of time to registrants, that maybe they have something accessible to them.
Yeah,
to play a little bit in the kitchen with you.
Sure. We'll see. I mean, in my own Facebook group, I do a weekly, what I call half an hour of baking therapy. So it's every Saturday afternoon. I do a half-hour bake-along live is also what I call it, where I'll publish an event where I give people the ingredients and the equipment that they need, and then they turn up live to get the method and follow. Some people do bake-along with me, others just take notes. So, and that's in a half-hour slot. So,
what's the name of your Facebook group?
My Facebook group is Bake a Better World.
Bake a Better
World. Yeah.
So this is the Facebook group, and then it's Bake Along Live is on what day of the week?
It's a Saturday. It's 5 p.m. UK time, so that's 12 noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific.
Hey, that's helpful to people. So I'm going to write 3 p.m. 9 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
Or 12 p.m. Okay, Bake a Better World Facebook group, Saturday Bake Along Live, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and that is for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to just send this out as a comment to everybody so they can join if they want to. That's super cool.
So it's only, as I say, it's only half an hour, so it's something that's just simple. And I say it is half an hour of baking therapy is what I call it, because it's
I love it.
Yeah, I it's not designed to be sophisticated. It's more just to get some community going and to get people baking, and just to be of service to my group. To do anything more complicated requires a bit more tech in terms of my camera angles and also time. It's just something that's super simple and fun.
Well, and it sounds to me as non-threatening.
Yeah.
Not intimidating. Like, this sounds beautiful.
Exactly right. Yeah. So, some of the things I have done: chocolate brownies. I've done what have I done? My brain's gone blank. But sort of like some shortbread biscuits, and some things have involved like no stand mixers or anything like this. Just melting something on the hob or in the microwave and mixing it all together in a bowl. But all super delicious and just designed, as I say, to be totally accessible and easy for everybody who wants to get it.
Now, here's a question for you. Have you ever done any vegan baking?
Very little. I make no apology for that. I get asked quite a few times, can you do a diabetic thing for me, or can you do a vegan thing for me? And I've thought long and hard about going down that route, and it's
not yours.
If I was in again,
it's probably not your journey. Somebody else is going to do it, right?
And I make no apology for that. But I think as well, because I'm not in a full-time professional kitchen. I think if I was, that'd be different, because every day I'd be probably needing to serve customers that were, had those dietary requirements, but I'm not, and also the kind of stuff that I do like to make, it's incredibly difficult to do it vegan, because all the sort of pâtisserie stuff I like to make is full of dairy and it's full of eggs, so
I will say, and you may be rather impressed by this, but my partner and I made a vegan cheesecake.
Very nice.
It was really good. Probably too good for our own good.
I once made I have made sort of a vegan, sort of like lemon meringue pie kind of thing, but I've kind of shied away from that, because it's just not my thing.
You know what I'm realizing? Wait a minute. Well, we made a cheesecake, but that was for my son's birthday, and that was not vegan. Maybe we didn't make the vegan cheesecake, but I obviously had a dream about it because it was really good. We talked about making a vegan cheesecake because I just caught myself in a embellishment of something that didn't really happen yet. Well, I'm glad I got to tell you guys the truth. So we talked about making a vegan cheesecake, but it hasn't happened yet. So we'll go from there. So anyways, we end on that note. No, just kidding.
That's great.
Well, Shirley, I'm so delighted that you were able to be here with me today, and that you have this Facebook group where people can join and do the bake along, learn more about you, perhaps even get information about your school. We'll make sure that everyone has access to the free gift, which was actually tell everybody about your free gift. The short crust.
Sure, it's so I think folk in the US might call it pie crust, but it's short crust pastry, and it's kind of the most common pie crust pastry that I think people have a lot of difficulties with, and I got 10 points, secrets that are super important that go towards making perfect short crust pastry. There's lots of elements in there, and then I also got a really delicious recipe there. It's treacle tart, so it's an English dessert, shall we say? But it's it's really nice. It's delicious. It has an open tart kind of idea. So and if people got any questions, once I've downloaded it, and by all means, I think my contact details are on this post here anyway, and be more than happy to help you within your questions if they've got some.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So I did just post it. I don't know if it's actually posting to the Facebook folks, but it's going to YouTube. And so for further information, Shirley can be reached at info@sharingdeliciousness.com or www.sharingdeliciousness.com. And she's offering you her 10 secrets to perfect short crust pastry. And it's a long address, but I will read it. https://sharingdeliciousness.com/ I can't say the word, /TREACLE-TART-pastry-secrets with an S-download /. So I will try to get that into the actual post so you guys can click it. And anything you want to say to our viewers and listeners, Shirley, a last minute around the joys and pains of baking?
Well, I've just been delighted to be here, and enjoy your baking. It's just baking, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day really what it looks like. It's the fact that you've tried and that you've made it yourself.
Fabulous. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. It was good to see you, Shirley, and we hope to see everybody next week. Goodbye,
baking.
everybody.
Bye.